organ transplantation. My name is Dai Xiaofu. I'm Fujian Medical University Hospital Cardiac Surgery, Fujian Provincial Heart Center, Fujian Institute of Thoracic Surgery, Fujian Institute of Coronary Heart Disease. Today, I want to say 4 contents. 1 is summarize. 2 is transplantation immunity. 3 is acquisition and preservation of transplanted organs. 4 is transplantation of various organs. Now, let's see the first section. Section 1, summarize. First, we should say the stage of mice. One case was recorded in the classic book Liet said, Duke Hu of the stage of Lu and Qi Ying of the stage of Zhao went to see Bian Chue, a magical doctor. Bian Chue said, Duke Hu is a man of strong will and weak spirit, so he is successful apprentice to make no decisions. Qi Ying is a man of weak will and strong spirit, so he is less determined than he is anxious, and less determined than he is. It could be good for you to have a different heart. Bian Chue drink 2 people poisoned wine. Then death, selected or forehead, they eventually recovered. This article is the first report on electric organ transplantation in medical history. Bian Chue is a famous doctor who lived more than 300 years old. Therefore, the International Organ Transplantation Society regards Bian Chue as the ancestor of organ transplantation. The other change of pain is there is a story in a Chinese mice novel. Yao Zai said, the professor in here has a deep friendship with a scholar who helps the mark the article and feels that the article is really poor. Once the scholar was drunk and fell asleep, the scholar chose a good heart from him to the scale. Since then, the scholar had achievement. In ants great village, there was a monster named Chimera, with the head of lion, the tail of snake, and the body of sheep. It has the facility of lion and the agility of snake, and the edge of goat. Chimera is now a biological term that translates to chimera, referring to a new individual formed by the joining together of organs and tissues from different organoids, become the emblem of the American Society of Transplant Surgeons. Stage of concept. Between the 14th and 16th centuries, the Renaissance movement in Western Europe led to a period of sensitive and artistic innovation, during which some doctors and scholars coincide with the idea of organ transplantation. The stage of exploration. In the 15th century, many people lost their nose in syphilis. A dragon in Italy has a vivid imagination. He stated his hen's nose once in the depth of the during art. After a few weeks in the presenting, the sky and the glow together. In 17th century, Dutch surgeon Michael reported that he had mended the screw of a Russian soldier with a piece of dog bone. Open ending of the news, Roman sailors were prophets and ordered him to undergo an operation to remove it. In the 19th century, a French doctor, Jenny, stung by the extinction gland and after pain of the authorities, quickly connected one side of the severed head to the cardiac of a dog. Although he is recovered faces, but he couldn't bring the severed head back to life. This pain is a snatch of a head transplant. In June 1894, French President Sadi was stabbed in abdomen by a gangster with the strap snapped, causing the knobbing to return and bring. At that time, doctors didn't master effective techniques to stimulate the blood flush, and the president fearing death of massive bleeding. He trusted Keller. Then a medical student, he was determined to work hard on vascular anastomosis. The man is the French president said. In 1902, after learning from the best tailors of Paris, French Dr. Keller invented the 3-line statute of blank vases. This method could solve the problem of brain. However, due to the limitations of material technique at that time, his statute line was hell of a nurse. The invention of vasectomy was the important stage in the development of organ transplantation. He also won the Nobel Prize in 1902. The man is Keller, is the father of vascular statute. In 1905, French surgeon Keller performed the first animal heart transplantation. He planted a head from a puppy to the neck of a dog, although the head only beat for 2 hours after the transplantation. But it is the beginning of history in heart transplantation. The man is Keller, is the beginning of history in head transplantation. In 1906, French Dr. Berry became the first person to record a detailed explantation of plantation. He transplanted a stitch cat into a 15-year-old man. Although the patient died soon after being rejected, it was believed to be the world's first kidney transplanted. This man is the world's first kidney transplanted. The man is Muley. He was the first doctor to choose and operate the first transplantation between kidney. Starjaw is the father of modern organ transplantation. In 1963, the world's first liver transplantation was performed in the United States, and in 1967, following a breakthrough the anti-rejection drugs, he received the world's first successful liver transplantation. In 1982, he had established the clinical application of the tricyclone and tacrolimus. This man is William Kelly. On December 7, 1966, American Dr. Kelly completed the first clinical pancreas transplantation. In 1964, Thomas Hardy, an American doctor, he is a very famous doctor. Why? Because he transplanted a trip heart into an ideal pet. Although the pet died of heart failure soon after the transplantation, it was the first human heart transplantation. I hope you can see and reform the man. The man is Barnard. He was the father of heart transplantation. On September 4th, he is a South African. He successfully transplanted the head of a 24-year-old woman who had died in a car accident to a patient with terminal heart failure, and the first human allo graft. He has a famous history is because he performed the first open heart surgery with extraplaquetation circulation and designed the artificial tricuspid and aortic valves that are still used today. In July 17, to mark the 50 annuals of the first successful heart transplant, South Africa never issued 2 series coins. On the coins of the coin, there was an atomic strong of a human chest, and the other coin, it has an English word. First heart transplant was inspired respectively. The man is a Russian doctor. Why he is successful and famous? Because in the outbreak of World War II, he in England observed skin graft and bone patients, and the kind reject of allos is caused by immunization means. After observing, and the skin was rejected and shed off within a week, but he is successful. In 1960, he continued experiments with carrier on farm and observed that skin graft between 3 did not reject, thus discovering article menu to annual phenomenon, which opened the way to solve the problem of graft rejection and won the Nobel Prize in the same time. Now we finish the history, so I want to say the summarize. Transplantation. What is transplantation? It is a viable cell, tissue, or organ called a graft, surgical or otherwise graft onto the right body surface or a part of the body of the chef or other. A medical technique that replaces or enhances the function of an existing cell, tissue, or organ. Graft. What is graft? Is the transplanted part, and we must know the cell transplant. It is a large number of free center heart cells are injected into blood vessels, body cavities, tissues, and organs of recipient. There are many cell transplantation. I hope you can know it, because of the cell transplantation is very important, such as the blood transplantation or the monohepatic stem cell transplantation, because it treats immunodeficient disease. It is the skin flap transplantation. In other words, it is say tissue transplantation. It is to transplant central tissue such as skin, vesicle, tendon, bone tissue, flap, etc. to a center site of the recipient to repair a tissue defect. It is a live operation. Yes, it is organal decompression transplantation. In American, famous and extended transplant operation in 1996 is face transplantation. The woman was died in a car accident, and the woman was very hard in his face. So they fixation and doctors successfully finished the operation. Other summarize is solid organ transplantation. It is the transfer of a viable functional organ to a recipient to treat a fatal disease of the recipient's original organ. There have two summarize is organ and recipient host. Now I want to speak the classification of organ transplantation. Classification by individual and genetic differences. Syngeneic transplantation. Although the donor and the recipient were not in the same individual, they have identical genotypes, such as the transplantation between red and purebred. Allotransplantation. It is the most common type of transplantation in clinic. Xenotransplantation, the transplanting of different species such as pigs and humans. Other classification is implantation site. They have three transplantation. One is allotopic transplantation. It is a graft placed on the original anatomic site, and the original organ of the repeator needs to be removed before transplantation, such as allotopic liver transplantation. Two is heterotopic transplantation. It is a graft is placed at anatomical site, usually without the need to remove recipient's original organ, such as an ectopic pancreas transplantation. The last one is teletopic transplantation. In other words, the graft is placed close to the recipient's organ without resection and original organ, such as pancreas transplantation. Second two, I want to see the transplanted immunity. As we know, transplanted immunology is very important in organ transplantation. Now let's see the transplant immunity society with the participation and cellular immunity, molar immunity, and other innate immune factors. The recipient and the immune system conducts the recoordination process of stress and non-self to the non-aligned entities. Currently, let's know most clinical transplants are allografts, and graft rejection is the biggest obstacle to successful transplantation, which is essential donor-specific immune response of the recipient. Let's see the size of transplant immunity. First is transplantation of antigens. Donor graft antigens that induce an immune response are called graft antigens. It includes three signs. In our book, we can know the three signs and know how it can do the most signs to the transplanted immunity. One major histocompatibility complex is most important antigens in clinical transplantation. It has a wide range of polymorphisms, causing the homograft immune response. The aim of multi-human reactive antigens is to determine the compatibility between donor and recipient antigens in order to manage rejection. Second, transplant antigens is most inventory of minor histocompatibility antigen are composed of allelic protein peptides which can induce graft rejection and medical by cause a weak rejection reaction. The most fast is ABO antigen, can also be expressed in the radio adenocyte, and when it enters the body, it can bind to the blood group, area extending in the recipient body. Now, I want to speak the graft rejection. As we know, immune tolerance is to achieve graft-specific immunity without damage while retaining the full function of the recipient's immune system. Immune rejection is the process by which the body destroys a graft by means of a specific immune response. Let's see the mechanism and the classification of immune rejection. Most important is hyperreticular rejection. Because the recipient was retained antibody against the other antigen, so it can quickly bind to the graft antigen within minutes or hours after. You can see there have 3 and 4 signs. 2 is acute rejection. Cellular immune response plays a major role, but it may also involve humoral immune factors, which is the first most common clinical practice. Occurs mainly in extreme transplantation. Most of acute rejection occurred on the 5th to 15th day after surgery. Once diagnosed, treatment should be given as early as possible, and most cases can be resolved by large dose of chemo shock or by adjustment and immunosuppressive regimens. Colonic rejection, a common cause of graft loss, which can be detected by needle biopsy method after transplantation in some patients. Prevention and treatment of immune rejection. It must have 6 signs. First is donor age, recipient age, and anatomic physiology and pathology should be taken into account. Second is most important is transplantation immunology. Generally, the donor suitable of reception can be selected by situ measure, such as ABO, HLA, PIA, and most important is a positive greater 10% across match test is contraindicated for organ transplantation. There are 3 immunosuppressive drugs. You can know it because such as CD3. CD3 is most used in our life. There are 3 signs of immunomedications medications such as MML and AZA are commonly used. Secondly, removal and preservation of transplanted organs by lavage. As we know, organs for transplants come from heart-head donors, brain-head donors, and living donors. Cardiac death donor refers to the patient who has been in an irreversible state of cardiac arrest or respiratory arrest, but whose organs remain functional or alive for transplant within a relatively short period of time. Donor of brain death refers to irreversible loss of function in life center of brain stem, and the electrically shows no brain telephone activity. Early brain death is the best time to remove organs. 3. Living donor refers to the provision of partial organs by the healthy individuals for transplantation, which is one of the important ways to solve the shortage of donor organs. The process of organ acquisition mainly includes exploitation in situ, perfection in situ, organ removal, organ preservation, and organ transplantation. When donor organ is removed in situ or in vitro, preservation solution is injected into the arterial system of the graft by gravity infusion or pressure infusion at a central height. The honest blood is washed out of the organ such as possible by lavage. The central temperature of the organ was rapidly and uniformly reduced to about 0 to 4. The organ was immersed in a container with cold preservation solution and placed in human icebox to keep the temperature at 0 to 4 until transplantation. They have 2 important signs. One is hot ischemia time. Other is cold ischemia time. Hot ischemia time refers to the interval between the oxygen from donor's blood circulation stop or local blood supply stop to the beginning of cold perfusion. Cold ischemia time refers to the time interval from cold perfusion of donor organ to the opening of blood supply after transplantation. Most surgeons limited organ preservation to 6 hours for heart, kidney for 40 to 50 hours, pancreas for 10 to 20 hours, liver 12 to 15 hours. The pens is cut the donor heart and preserve it by lavage. This book is human organ for transplantation. The kidney was removed and preserved by lavage. Second 4, I have 4 signs transplantation of various organs. The most important is 3, heart transplantation. Now let's see the first, kidney transplantation. Japan is kidney transplantation. Kidney transplantation in China began in the 1960s. More than 5,000 kidney transplants have been performed every year since 2000, and more than 2 million people have received kidney transplantation in total. Most of patients returned to normal life and working ability after kidney transplantation. The most effective organ transplantation in clinic. The main indication of kidney transplantation was chronic glomerulonephritis, followed by chronic glomerulonephritis, developable nephropathy, which advanced to the ultimate stage of chronic nephropathy. The age range is generally from 12 to 15 years, but in recent years, the age range of recipients have been expanded. We see this. This is the renal allograft was placed in recipient's explantational iliac fascia. This is the kidney transplanted operation. This is ureter. This is the kidney, and this is vein. This is artery. Most important is renal vein of the donor was anatomized end to end with the external iliac vein of recipient. Liver transplantation. Liver transplantation has many ways. More than 80% of liver transplantation recipients in China are HBV patients. There are many signs of contraindications to liver transplantation, such as difficult to poor extrahepatic malignant tumor, serious organic lesions in the heart, lung, brain, and the other important organs, and the HIV is infection. Relative contraindications is this such as diabetes mellitus that affect prognosis, history of mental illness, age is greater than 65. There have three live transplanted operations, such as classic allotopic liver transplantation. This is classic allotopic liver transplantation. This is piggyback liver transplantation. Now let's see the heart transplantation. It's really important. The man is the father of heart transplantation. The first human heart transplantation was performed in Bangladesh, South Africa, in 1967. Heart transplantation is now recognized as the first and only effective clinical treatment of end-stage heart disease. This is the current status of heart transplantation in China. By 2016, the number of heart transplants in China has been counted. It can be seen that the number of heart transplantations in China is increasing year by year. And by 2016, statistics on the number of heart transplantation in hospitals across the country. Our detailed rank fourth in the total amount of heart transplantation surgery in China. This is our hospital, Fujian Medical University Union Hospital. And up to 2016, the survival rate statistics in hospital for heart transplantation in China, the survival rate for heart transplantations in China is now more than 95%. The indications for heart transplantation. First is non-specific cardiomyopathy and chemic heart disease or in main disease. And they have four signs of basic principles of dialysis. The contraindications of heart transplantation is absolute contraindication and relative contraindication. Heart transplant donor choice, ABO blood type was indetectable and lymphocyte less 10%. Serological tests for antibodies to various viruses were negative. The difference between the donor's white and that of the recipients is less than 20%. This is the donor's heart, and then it is to begin the heart transplant surgery. In heart transplanted surgery, the left superior pulmonary vein of the posterior wall of the donor heart was anastomoized with the recipient's left atrial point, and the right superior vein of the posterior wall of the donor heart was anastomoized with the corresponding point of the recipient's right atrium. Anastomosis of pulmonary arteries and at cardiac surgery of Fujian Medical University Union Hospital, a repertoire is the largest and the most professional center for the diagnosis and treatment of cardiovascular disease in Fujian province, with an annual population length of nearly 3,000 individuals. Its comprehensive strength ranks the first in Fujian province and the leading in China. Northeast is the first change of heart transplantation in Fujian on August 21, 1995. And 16 years later, on September 22, 2011, the second change of the heart. During the COVID-19 outbreak, Union Hospital Heart Surgery took a special plan to Guangzhou to get a heart, and the heart transplant was successfully completed. This is cardiac surgery in Fujian Medical University Union Hospital. Heart surgery of Fujian Union Hospital has successfully completed more than 20 heart transplant operations this year. This is main function of artificial heart. The plan had a long history of heart failure and was waiting for a donor, so he installed an artificial heart. His life returned to normal after he was fitted with an artificial heart. Now let's see the pancreas transplantation. Transplantation in clinical practice, transplantation and kidney transplantation is usually selected only for patients with advanced diabetes mellitus, especially when complicated with uremia. Contraindications: an incurable tumor, serious complications of diabetes. This is the pancreas transplantation operation, simultaneous pancreas kidney transplantation. Now, lastly, we see the small bowel transplantation. Small bowel transplantation indications is irreversible small intestinal peritalosis, and children patients may include glomerulosis and congenital intestinosis. In adults, there are many short bowel syndrome radioactive. After small intestinal transplantation, there is a high indicator of rejection, easy to be complicated with several infections. The contraindications in small bowel transplantation is absolute contraindications: heart, lung, brain, and the other important organs, serious organic lesions, difficult to cure, the malignant tumor, acquired immune deficiencies syndrome, uncontrollable system infection. There are 3 small bowel transplanted operations. 1 is small intestine transplantation alone. 2 is liver and small intestine combined transplantation. 3 is abdominal cavity multi-organ cluster transplantation. There have many new technologies in our society and in cardiac surgery. It is the performance completely thoracoscopic, minimally invasive cardiac surgery. And this is complete thoracoscopic incision. This is traditional incision. Compared with traditions, cardiac merely invited surgery. The incision is beautiful, healing is fast, and sternal integrity is flexible. This is our term: perform complete thoracoscopic, minimally invasive cardiac surgery. This is our term: complete thoracoscopic repair of arterial septal defect. The mitral valve was replaced with a completed thoracoscope. This is my introduction, and my telephone number and email was here. Hope to discuss more about heart disease with you. Thanks.